He wanted to end his life with a steel needle, but his wife, on her deathbed, had entrusted him to take care of their daughter, who was just 5 months old. The baby, after being splashed with river water and inhaling the familiar scent of her mother lingering in the air, finally calmed down. Father and daughter continued their journey, and Andy followed the map to find a village. He needed to tend to the wound on his arm first. At a relief station, he finally saw another living person. The doctor immediately recognized that the man was infected with the zombie virus, yet still kindly helped him treat the wound, despite it being of little use. This could at least prevent the smell of blood from attracting zombies. That night, Andy cradled his daughter and murmured to himself, believing the woman to be not only a doctor but also a kind-hearted person who might be able to take care of his daughter. However, he soon noticed the doctor removing her wig, revealing scars left by surgery. It was clear that the doctor was afflicted with an incurable illness. Not wanting to burden her, and in pursuit of a better future for his daughter, he abandoned the idea of entrusting his child to the doctor and set off again. Before parting, the doctor handed him a photo, suggesting he find this family, who might be able to care for his daughter. Andy carried his child and set off once more, quickly spotting a car. Just as he reached to open the car door, a chubby man emerged from a ditch, aiming a gun at him. It turned out the man only wanted to save Andy's life, and the chubby fellow turned out to be quite amiable. However, the sound of the gunshot quickly drew more zombies and they had to leave in a hurry. Andy urgently drove the car, dragging the gas cylinder, pinning down the man, thereby rescuing him. The two then drove off quickly. After stopping the car, Andy noticed a heavily guarded shelter surrounded by iron fences, with a kind-faced girl living inside. His daughter seemed to sense her father's despair as she quietly watched. After some hesitation, Andy grabbed a steel needle and went out. His daughter now had someone to care for her. It might not have been the best choice, but he fled without food or shelter. They hid in a cave as the chubby man chased them in his car, but couldn't find their traces. Frustrated, he roared into the dark night to return the indigenous girl to him, promising to let father and daughter go. Otherwise, he'd use 4 bullets on himself from the 6-chamber revolver and leave the remaining 2 for Andy and his daughter. Andy was powerless to stop him and had no choice but to leave. Not long after, 4 gunshots echoed and the man collapsed behind Andy, leaving him with precious seconds before a new sound pulled him out from the depths of despair. Not long after, Thumi came to him and told Andy that he wanted to return home. Thumi told him that their family wasn't far, just past the tunnel. Then, Thumi pulled out a powder and applied it to Rosie's face. Thumi said that this would prevent zombies from following her. Andy didn't need it anymore, since he was now shambling like a zombie. He later found Vic sitting on the ground, holding a sobbing Rosie in his arms. Andy dared not enrage Vic, worried he might hurt Rosie. "Come on, mate. You took mine, now I take yours." Andy told him that Rosie didn't belong to him. Hearing Andy's words, Vic ultimately handed Rosie over and awaited his own death. Shortly after, with a wounded body and an unsettled Thumi, Andy strained onward for a short distance before collapsing. He knew he was about to become one of the undead. When he rose, thick pus oozed from his face, dripping constantly from his eyes. Turning his head, he saw decaying flesh nearby and wanted to take a bite, but his rationality overcame the inner demon of hunger. Suddenly, he noticed Thumi. Old Lee. After making all necessary arrangements, he hunched to the ground in pain. While he still had some consciousness left, he hurriedly instructed Thumi to fetch a supply box for him. From it, he pulled out a rope and stuffed a piece of plastic into his mouth, ensuring he wouldn't release airborne threats when he turned completely. With a slight spray of perfume in the air, Andy tilted